Hey guys, today I'm going to be taking a look at this little foldable drone by LBLA. Really nice little foldable drone. I'm really impressed with this. I don't see any model name for this drone, but as far as I can tell, it goes, has a model number of 77-27. So that's the model number of this little foldable drone by LBLA. As you can see, very small, like mini, maybe a micro. I'm not exactly sure which classification it falls under, but very small little foldable drone. The arms here just pop out. They don't actually snap into place. I mean, it's kind of, they do, but it's not like very permanent, I guess you could say. So you could knock these arms out of whack if you do a hard landing or a crash. So you may have to pop them back into place, but really nice flying drone. It's got a white LED here in the front and a red on the rear of the battery. So when you pull the battery out, you have to sometimes get your fingernail in there to pop it out. There's a red light in the back. It has a red light built into the battery too, which you can kind of see through here. When it's plugged into the micro USB and it's charging, that light will go out. It takes about 45 minutes to charge this up. It includes a little micro USB cable for charging it, but you can use any micro USB. I would advise a longer one so it's easier to get it plugged in. It comes with a full set of propellers, so if you only see 3 here, it's because I actually was doing another little quick test a while ago and I threw a prop. I think I had one crash yesterday and that may have loosened the prop up, so I had to replace that propeller, so that's why there's only 3 of them in the bag. So like about 45 minutes to charge this up, but boy, this gets a long flight time. Now in my basement last night, I got over 12 minutes. That's impressive. Now I was flying back and forth in a basement in a room. I wasn't able to really open it up, so I don't expect necessarily to get that outdoors today, though there's practically no wind. But I should be able to fly it more sporty today, so I don't expect to get that long. But even if I got 9-10 minutes, that's really good. So I don't know if I'll even be able to fly it for the whole duration of its flight today and this flight review without making the review really long. Really nice little quadcopter, and really flies well. Let's go ahead and look at the controller. The controller's a little odd, it's like a rectangle, but it's, about the only thing I could say against it is the sticks are a little far apart, which may not be ideal for a kid. Get your power button here, get your 3D flips in the direction you want to go, and it does 360 flips very well. Very tight, nice flipper. You got your forward and your right, left, and back trim, your pitch and roll trim here. Headless mode here has 3 speed rates. It gets the yaw increases a little bit with each one, and it's really sporty in the highest rate. Your 1 key return here, and this is like mode 1, mode 2 if you want to switch modes on the controller, but you don't see that very often. You just probably want to leave it as is because most people, at least in the United States, like to fly mode 2. It's altitude hold, as you can see, so you do your 1 key takeoff and 1 key landing if you want, or you can just give it throttle, I think, and it will also take off manually. In a long 2-second press, we'll do an emergency motor kill. If you want to calibrate the gyro, it's just down and to the right. So there's not much to cover, so I'm just doing a quick overview here before the flight because it doesn't really warrant a table review considering there's not a whole lot to go over with this little drone. So let's go ahead and I'll pause the video here and get it bound up, and we'll go ahead and take it up for the flight review. Okay guys, so I have it bound up. You can see the white light here and the red here in the rear on the back of the battery. So let's go ahead and take it up for the flight review now. Like I said, this is a really nice little flyer. I flew it 12 minutes in the basement and crashed it twice, and it's a rather confined area. So that shows you just how good this thing handles. I'm a pretty good pilot myself, I think, but to fly it around a little room, with not a whole lot of area to really open it up, especially I was flying at the highest rate, 2 crashes is not bad at all. But like I said, I probably did mess up one of the props, so that's why I had to replace the propeller here a while ago. Let's go ahead and do an auto takeoff. Nice. Now I'm just in the lowest rate. Let's bring it back here. It looks like it might need a I'm gonna go ahead and do an auto land. It looks like it could use a gyro calibration. It was really tilting forward. So let's go ahead and do a gyro calibration. That could have been from that crash a while ago when I was flying it here. It fell into the yard, so I didn't calibrate the gyro after that. It should be good to go now. Let's go ahead and take it up again. Yeah, much better. And it says in instructions, if you have a crash, you may need to calibrate the gyro, and that's exactly what's happening. Yeah, that's why it tilted and was leaning on me. You could use a little bit of trim though, which is not uncommon. All these toys are going to need that. There's a very slight breeze from right to left. As you can see, it's drifting there. But when I was flying in the basement, of course, with no wind in the house, it's extremely stable. and give it some rear trim coming back at me. And we're just in the lowest rate here, so I'm not going to leave it this very long. It has very little pitch. You can see that there's the yaw. I'm going to go ahead and take it up a little faster and a little bit more faster. That's the highest rate, much faster. Really sporty. Just a really nice flyer. Really impressed with this little guy. I liked it. Doesn't have prop guards, but you're flying it indoors. You know, it's. So I hit the walls, and I imagine that probably messed that propeller up. But anytime you have propellers, you're going to affect the. Anytime you add prop guards, you're going to affect the performance somewhat. Just the additional weight and affect the prop wash and stuff like that. Let's go and do some 360 flips. See, really, look at that. Really tight. That's what you want to see. Rear, let's do one to the left, one to the right. Really nice flyer. Look at that. Sporty. Look at funnels. Look at that. Now there's a wind kicking up now. Now this guy's pretty small, so obviously it's going to get blown around outside easier than a bigger quadcopter. But it's a relatively calm day, but we got a pretty good breeze. It's a pretty good breeze flying here. I'm flying right into it. And at highest rate, it's handling it well. Now if you fly this in the lowest rate outside, it's not going to be, it doesn't have enough pitch to fight that wind. You're going to get blown away. So if you're just starting out and you buy this as a beginner, you know, fly it some indoors until you get more comfortable. If you don't think you can handle the highest rate and there's any wind. And if there's a really calm day with no wind, then you can get by in the lowest rate. Wow, this thing just flies great. Like I said, I got over 12 minutes with about a 30-second LVC. But that was indoors. You know, I had to do a lot more hovering. I don't expect, you know, I couldn't fly it like this. There wasn't enough room. I could only fly it about that far, about like this. Had to turn it around, fly. So I did as much as I could, but I don't expect I'm going to get over 12 minutes. But you never know. I just don't think I will because I couldn't fly it as aggressively. But for a quadcopter of this size, it's been a while since I've had one that flew this good. I think the last one that I had in this size would have been the Hellaway 903, which is a little, you know, direct drive propellers. It's a better than this, but this is the first one I've had of this size in a while that's flown this well. This is definitely, I highly recommend this one. This is available on Amazon. I don't know a price. I've not even looked at the product page yet. I will include a link. I'll look it up. Include a link to you in the description here if you guys are interested. This was sent to me directly from LBLA. They just wanted an unbiased review of it, and that's what I'm giving you. But I'll include a purchase link if you guys are interested in picking this up. So I don't know what the price of it is, but unless it's really marked up, I think it's worth the money. Unless it's, you know, marked up really high, which I seriously doubt. The Amazon stuff is generally not as cheap as if you order from China. Usually the things are marked up some because they're imported over here, and then you have to, you know, give Amazon their cut if it's Prime, which I'm sure this is Prime. But you're getting Amazon's customer service. If you have Prime, you're getting the 2-day shipping. So you're paying a little more, but you're also getting that peace of mind and that much faster shipping rather than waiting a month for the free shipping options from China, sometimes even longer than a month. I don't know how well this is showing up on my head cam. I'm trying to keep it close, guys, but I know it's pretty small, so I don't want to get it too far out, especially if there's no onboard footage to include. So if I'm flying really far out, you're basically listening to me talk and you can't see it fly. So I don't usually mess with headless mode and 1-key return. I'm sure it works fine, but those to me are mostly just gimmicks. You shouldn't use headless mode to learn how to fly because you're not really learning how to fly. You're not learning orientation. So don't use those unless you're starting out and you're in a pinch and you just got to get in the air. But the 1-key return is just simply flying back the opposite direction it took off. So if you're trying to go behind you the other direction, it's not going to work. So it's not a real true return to home. Not like GPS. And this guy he just flies great. But the only thing I can say is sometimes you let up, it really kind of gets like a little like a skidding, like it just takes it a moment, it kind of sways for a second, but that's really minor. Altitude hold seems to work pretty good. I can tell when I get a little drip of a breeze and I kind of move, it feels like it's kind of wanting to drop on me a little. That's just the altitude hold. I would actually prefer this to be full manual. You're going to get it's going to be even sportier because I'm not going to have to worry about it wanting to maintain its height. You know, it's wanting to maintain that altitude. So I don't know if they make a non-altitude hold version of this. It would be ideal, especially for a beginner to really learn throttle management. But it certainly works pretty good for altitude hold. Like I said, I would prefer it not to have altitude hold. But it definitely makes it easier to fly. So if you're learning to fly, this is not a bad option. No, it's probably not ideal, because I really think you should learn on a full manual quadcopter. That little white light out here with some cloud cover and that red light in the rear, I can see that really well for orientation. So I don't need, you know, to have lights on each arm or anything. That works really well for orientation, because I get it out to the edge of my fence here, the edge of my property, buzz in my head, I can see that little white light and red light. Because otherwise, you know, you're going to lose your orientation even that far, you know, not very far out, because it's not very big. So I think it's probably like perfect size. You can fly indoors, though you're going to be with it in the highest rate. You're going to, unless you have a really, really big house, you're not going to be able to really open it up. But you can still fly it around, and it's big enough that it can handle the wind and fly outdoors, as you can see, especially if it's not real windy like today. Let's go ahead and do an auto landing here again. I know I did one when we first started out, but let's bring it over here. And there's an auto landing. You can correct it as I'm doing, and it cuts the motors. So, you know, if it does fly a little funky, just calibrate the gyros like I did. It's the first time I've ever had to do that, but that's simply because I had, you know, it threw a prop and crashed, and that messed the gyros up. You can just give it a little up, and that and down cuts the motors, up starts it, and then give it some throttle to take off manually. So you don't have to use the auto takeoff unless you want to. I'm kind of 50-50 on that stuff. I'll use auto takeoff 50% of the time, and another 50% I'll probably use the manual. Just depends on what I'm feeling like at the moment. Really nice flyer, really, really sporty. And my friend Donnie, Big Drone Flyer 77, he reviewed this a while back. I believe he really liked it too. I think he had the hoops up. I have not assembled those hoops. I had the same hoops he has. This would be really good for flying through those little hoops. And I didn't get those out, but that was a really good idea on his part. But I highly recommend this. Like I said, really nice little drone. Let's see if I can do an auto landing here in my hand. Yeah, these little tiny brush motors, you're not going to hurt yourself if the props hurt them. Yeah, I mean, it might sting a little bit, but you're not going to cut yourself up. So you can do an auto takeoff and landing in your hand. Just make sure if you power it up and you got it in your hand, you got a level, you can mess up that gyro, because it's going to calibrate the gyro when you first turn it on. All right, guys, so this is the LBLA. I think, what did I say it was? It's the 7727. Yes, the 7727 is what it says on the box. If Amazon has a different name for this, like an actual model name, I'll include that. But as far as I know, like I said, it's just the LBLA 7727 Mini Foldable Drone. Excellent flyer. Highly recommend this. Don't really have much of anything negative to say about it. So be sure to subscribe, guys. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, I appreciate it. Make sure you click the bell so that you know if I posted, you know, a new video. And as always, guys, have a good day.
The power of the dark side.